Hello everyone and welcome back to Carvenus 14. Now today we are going to be carrying on not our Let's Play, but our guide videos. So in our last video we went through Zhongli's guide and I hope you guys found that one useful. If not, I'll try and make this one a bit better. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about Ningguang and how you should build her. Well, how I build her. Now, I use Ningguang as a support for Zhongli, mainly because you see this? Her Jade Curtain actually gives geo damage bonus. So I usually pop the screen, run through it with Zhongli, and then do his ultimate. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video. Now, I have my Ningguang at level 60, and these are her stats. I am still currently building her. Well, she's nearly there, but, you know, I'm currently still building her, so that's my crit rate on her. That's her crit damage. She's got 167.3% energy recharge, 15% shield strength. Again, that's because of the geo resonance buff, and she's got 85.6% geo damage bonus. Now, I have kept her at level 60, and honestly, I wouldn't, if you are building a support character, I honestly wouldn't advise getting them past level 60, at least for now, because if you didn't know, at Ascension Phase 4, right, at Ascension Phase 1, 2, 3, and then 3, and then 4, your second passive actually gets unlocked. So this gets unlocked at your second Ascension Phase 4, and you can basically take your talents to level 6, which is honestly what I recommend, because talent level 7 and onwards, you're going to need to farm boss materials, and it starts to get more expensive there. So I wouldn't heavily invest into your team, into your support characters, unless you have excess resources. If that's the case, then by all means go ahead. But yeah. Anyway, in terms of weapons, this is the weapon I've gone with, the Favonius Codex. Now, Ningguang only has an energy recharge of 40, if you guys didn't know. The reason I went for the Favonius Codex is because A, it's always nice to have a bit of energy recharge, and B, because I know she's a very squishy character, in order to make her shield last a little bit longer, I went for a HP damage, HP percent timepiece for her, because just to make her shield last a little bit longer, so I have more breathing room in terms of getting the 12% geo damage bonus. So there's that. And the other reason is because this was the only 4-star book I actually had before. I didn't have the Sacrificial Fragments or the Widsith. In fact, Sacrificial Fragments and Widsith I actually got in the weapon banner when I was rolling for the Staff of Homer. So yeah, you can run Thrilling Tales of the Dragon Slayers if you want as well, but like I said, because I wanted a bit, because I wanted a bit of energy recharge on Ningguang, because, you know, I use her as an ult spam machine. So yeah, some of you may use her as a main DPS. If you guys do use her as a main DPS, honestly, Sacrificial Fragments is quite good on her, because it increases her, you know. What am I saying? Sorry, wrong information. Sacrificial Fragments is a good support weapon on her, not a good DPS weapon on her. I mean, you can use this for a DPS Ningguang as well, but, you know, it doesn't really make sense to use her because Elemental Mastery and Geo characters don't really work well. So, yeah, apologies for that. But if you do want a good damage weapon on her, the Widsith is also a really good option. Again, this is only obtainable through the gacha. In fact, it's on the current weapon banner right now if you guys want to roll for it. So yeah, I got 3 copies of it. So when a character takes the field, there's a theme song that will last for around 10 seconds, and during that time period, you get either an attack buff, an increased elemental damage buff, or an elemental mastery buff. So two out of those 3 buffs are really, really good. The attack increase and elemental damage increase, which is really good on her. Like I said, if you don't have any 4-star or 5-star weapons. Thrilling Tale of the Dragon Slayers is honestly a really good weapon on her. Also, Twin Nephrite. If you're going for a DPS on Ningguang, which I believe most people will be, Twin Nephrite is also really good because of the crit rate. But if you have any 5-star weapons, Lost Prayer in the Sacred Winds, or Lost Prayer to the Sacred Winds is a really good weapon on her. Obviously, I don't have it. And Skyward Atlas is also really good because it increases your elemental damage, and it also increases your movement speed and attack speed. So yeah. It also has attack percent as a secondary stat as well, which is quite good, especially on Catalyst characters as well. So yeah, if you her best support weapon, honestly, probably like her best support weapon would be Skyward Atlas. Her best DPS weapon is, you know, Skyward Atlas and Lost Prayer to the Sacred Winds. But if you're low budget or free to play, Favonia's Codex is really good. I believe the weapon Mappa Mare is also quite good for a DPS, but I honestly wouldn't recommend it, again, because of the Elemental Mastery. But if you don't have any 4-star weapons and you have a few, you know, what is it? A few prototypes laying around for Catalyst users, then you can definitely use that. In fact, we'll probably head over to the you know, the, what is it called, the blacksmith right now. There we go. Master Zhang, do you have any weapons I can see? Right, so basically if we go to, where's the prototypes? Yeah. So Prototype Amber's actually also a decent weapon on her because of the HP stat. Now the reason HP percent I keep saying is really good on her is because her shield actually scales off her max HP. So in that case, it's you know, if you want a tanky shield for Ningguang, then Prototype Amber's quite good. And it also regenerates 4 energy every 2 seconds for 6 seconds. And it also heals your party members as well over a period of time. So yeah, this is quite good for energy recharge, but if you're like a support weapon, this is quite good on her. If you're going for a DPS, Elemental Mastery is quite good. Now, to be fair, you're not really going to be taking the full effect of this that much because Elemental Mastery isn't the best thing on Geo characters, and triggering an elemental reaction grants 8% increased elemental damage bonus for 10 seconds. Now the thing is, obviously, Geo characters only have one reaction, which is Crystallize, so unless you're really scarce on like resources and you've only got, like, you know, enough stuff to basically craft a Mappa Mare for her DPS, then honestly I would craft this, but to be fair, would I really though? No, not, I mean, in my opinion, I don't think Mappa Mare is a really good weapon on her, even though a lot of other YouTubers out there say that Mappa Mare is a decent weapon on her. I wouldn't recommend it just because Elemental Mastery isn't the best on Geo characters, and you know, Geo only has one elemental reaction, so it can't really take it into effect that much. So yeah, unless you you know, build a team surrounding Ningguang, that probably would make sense. So yeah, now moving on, those are her weapons. So best DPS weapons, obviously the 5 stars, and, you know, Widsith, Mappa Mare. Support weapons, her best one. Honestly, Favonia's Codex is really good on her. Sacrificial Fragments, Thrilling Tales of the Dragon Slayers, they're also really good on her. So yeah. Moving on to artifacts. Now, her artifacts, I run 2-piece Noblesse Oblige, 2-piece Archaic Petra. Now, what artifacts would I recommend? If you want a stronger shield on Ningguang, then you could do you know, like the full 4-piece Retracing Bolide or 2-piece and mix it up with something else. 2-piece Archaic Petra because it grants the 15% geo damage bonus, which is really good on her. Now, like I said in the last video, I did not recommend 4-piece Archaic Petra just because it requires a lot of management, because A, it's situational, and B, it requires a lot of management in order to actually you know, make it work properly. That's why I wouldn't recommend it. If you guys want to know why I wouldn't recommend it and go into a like further in-depth explanation, check out my last video, which was the Zhongli build guide, and then you'll understand. Then you guys will understand as to why I don't recommend it. Now, You could also go with the 4-piece Noblesse Oblige, because honestly, 4-piece Noblesse Oblige is just really good on most support, in fact, all support characters. So yeah, but I would honestly try and mix it up with 2-piece Noblesse Oblige, 2-piece Archaic Petra, just because 2-pieces is better than 1 4-piece in terms of like actual artifact grinding, just because it's much easier to obtain and you can customize the pieces however you want. So yeah, and like I said, because you're using a burst, I'm using Ningguang as a burst support, 2-piece Archaic Petra for the Geo damage bonus, and 2-piece for the Elemental Burst damage bonus as well is also really good. So, yeah. Anyway, as to what I am running on her, I've got crit rate and attack percent, which is quite good. Again, here, this is not the best one, but I've got energy recharge and HP percent, so that's all right. Now I've got a HP timepiece. Like I said, the reason I went for a HP timepiece was because I wanted to get a longer lasting, a more durable shield, just so that I have more you know, just so that the shield lasts longer when I need it, and so that I have more opportunities to grab the 12% geo damage bonus. So yeah, I've got attack percent here and energy recharge as well. Well, there we go. Now, Geo damage bonus cup. Now, for the HP, for the timepiece, you can go for either attack percent to make her damage go even, basically be even better. You can go for HP percent like I have if you're running an energy recharge weapon like the Favonius Codex, or Sacrificial Fragment. Sacrificial Fragments doesn't give energy recharge, does it? Hold on. No, it doesn't. So, yeah, if you're going with an energy recharge weapon, you can, and you want to make your shield last longer, HP percent timepiece is really good. Or, if you really need the energy recharge, you can run, you know, what is it? An energy recharge timepiece. But like I said, she doesn't really need energy recharge on her timepiece. So this is honestly just better if you go for an attack percent timepiece or a HP percent timepiece. But I would recommend HP percent because Ningguang is a very, very squishy character. So what that means is basically she doesn't have a lot of HP and she can be killed very easily. So making her HP basically increasing her HP means A, she will survive on the field for much longer, and B, her shield lasts longer as well. So yeah. Now in terms of timepiece, I would honestly only recommend geo damage bonus. There's no point going physical damage bonus because Catalyst users never do physical damage at all. So geo damage bonus, obviously, that's the only option you should go for here. Even if you have a 4-star one, use that one because honestly, the scaling on the damage bonus goblets are really, really good. So yeah, and in terms of helmet, you should go for either crit rate or crit damage. Even if you're using the character as a support, crit rate / crit damage is much better, especially as you're using a burst support, because you want to get as high numbers as frequently as possible. So, like I said, depending on the build you're going for, if you need to have a 1-to-2 ratio on your crit rate to crit damage. So if you've got more crit damage, obviously crit rate helmet. If you've got more crit damage, then if you've got more crit rate, then obviously a crit damage helmet, and basically just vice versa. If you don't have any of these two, because I know they are quite hard to obtain, an attack percentage artifact will be all right for now, but as soon as you get a crit damage or a crit rate helmet, just pop that on. This can just be there for, like, you know, safekeeping or something. So yeah, those are the artifact sets. So run that through again. Attack percent or HP percent timepiece. But if you're struggling for energy recharge, then energy recharge timepiece. Goblet, geo damage bonus, that's the only option you should go for. And then headpiece, crit rate or crit damage depending on your build, and attack percent if you get really unlucky with the RNG. Now constellations, I have her constellation 1, so constellation 2, sorry. So constellation 1 increases Ningguang's normal attacks. The way it makes it better is that her normal attacks only do they don't do AoE damage, they only do single targeting damage. So this is a really good one for her support. Like, in honesty, if you're not support, sorry, DPS. If you're going for a DPS build on Ningguang, honestly, this is brilliant. This is brilliant. This is like her best constellation, apart from Constellation 6, but this is like her best constellation. So yeah, because it turns all your normal attacks into AoE damage, which is really good. So Constellation 2 is, you know, it basically, when the Jade screen is shattered, it resets the cooldown, and it can only occur once every 6 seconds. So let's say you place Ningguang's shield down, but it gets destroyed like instantly due to, you know, an enemy doing a really big attack, or you plop it down and you do Ningguang's ultimate straight away. You can pop it back down really, really easily, like quickly. So this is a really good one. You can basically just reset the cooldown whenever it goes away. It only occurs every 6 seconds, so if it gets destroyed twice in a row very quickly, you won't be able to put it down. You'll have to wait the full cooldown, but you know what I mean. So yeah. Majesty, be the array of stars. This just increases her star shatter, so her ultimate skill by 3 levels. Jade, this one is a bit of a lackluster constellation, not gonna lie, because it just increases the elemental resistance by 10 seconds. I mean, it makes your characters tanky to elemental damage, but against physical damage, not so much, which is the main damage source of a lot of enemies. So yeah, this one is I mean, I wouldn't say it's completely horrendous, but it's definitely down there. This one just increases your Jade screen level by 3, and this one is her best constellation by far, because what this does on Ningguang is it basically, after you use your ultimate, you get 7 Star Jades on the back of you. So when you use a charged attack, it releases all 7 of those Star Jades, and you do a lot of damage. So this is by far her really good one. So yeah, I also did forget, if you are going DPS Ningguang, I would suggest going for 2-piece Gladiators and 2-piece Archaic, because that's actually quite good, or you know, or the full 4-piece Retracing Belied, but I wouldn't recommend that just because her shield isn't the best in the game. Yeah, and it only is against projectiles, so I guess to that effect it is quite good in its own regard. But yeah, honestly, her best set for DPS is 2-piece Gladiator and 2-piece Archaic Petra, just because Gladiator gives increased attack bonus and Archaic Petra gives increased geo damage bonus. So yeah. Now, as for her talents, normal attack is level 2. Now, fun fact, Ningguang is the only character in the game that doesn't actually have an attack string. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So you see how my Zhongli has 1 hit, 2 hit, all the way to 6 hit. My Bennett has 1 hit to 5 hit. Kaya has 1 hit to 5 hit as well. Yeah, all the characters have something like that, but Ningguang is the only character in the game that doesn't actually have an attack string. So basically, her damage is consistent through all of her her rock missile throwing things, basically. So yeah, she's basically the only character in the actual game that doesn't have an attack string, which makes her very unique in that respect. Now, I didn't level this up because, you know, I only use her for a support. Jade screen. Now, this basically pops a Jade screen down, obviously. Now, it only blocks against projectiles. It doesn't block against actual physical attacks. It only, you know, blocks against projectiles. So basically, like the stuff that the Abyss Mages throw at you, the crossbow Hilichels, what they throw at you, yeah, those things basically. Dvalin's comets that he hurls at you, just projectiles, right? This endurance scales off of Ningguang's max HP, so that's why it's best to build HP on her if you're going for a shield build. So yeah, the reason I went with the HP timepiece, like I said, is just because I wanted her shield to last as long as possible, just so I can get the geo damage bonus much better. Now, this her shield can't actually be climbed, but it does count as a geo construct, which means that Zhongli's pillars do actually resonate with them. So yeah, that's why this is really good. Like, she's a really good partner for Zhongli in that respect as well. So yeah. Now, Star Shatter. This is basically when she gets like a lot of jade, like, what is it? Jade gems, like gems basically, and she hurls them out. Now, she usually has 6 on her back and just throws them out. And basically, if there's a jade screen nearby, it will shatter the jade screen and turn the jade screen into extra gems. So so she fires off 6 gems, and if you have the jade screen out, the Jade screen will also fire off 6 gems. And this is why I say her second constellation is really good for her, because once you use her jade screen, it will dissolve into the jades, so, right? So if you place her shield down and use her ultimate, then you're gonna have to wait the full 12 seconds for it to cool down, right? Well, with her second constellation, you don't have to wait for that cooldown. You can just pop it back straight away, which is really, really good. That's why I honestly do recommend getting her second constellation if you do plan on supporting for Ningguang. Now, backup plan. Now, backup plan is her second passive. This is her first passive. This is her second passive that she unlocks. So, when Ningguang is in possession of Star Jades on her back, her charge attacks do not consume stamina. So basically, when Ningguang has those 3 Star Jades on her back, or any amount of Star Jades on her back, when she does a charged attack and releases them, she doesn't consume any stamina. So the way you want to play with the main DPS Ningguang is you want to do 3 normal attacks and then do a charge shot right after to get the most amount of DPS damage out of her. But of course, I don't run her as a DPS, so I won't really know that much about how to properly play with a DPS Ningguang. I just use her as a support. So yeah. Now this second passive is the reason third passive. This is the reason I actually decided to build her. So when a character passes through the jade screen, so her shield basically, they will gain a 12% geo damage bonus for 10 seconds. Now, this goes really well with Zhongli, right? So, Planet Befall, right, whenever you use it, obviously it does geo damage. Now, Strategic Reserve makes it so that I can pop Ningguang's shield down, run through, get the 12% increased geo damage bonus, and then do even more damage. In fact, my damage went from, I believe, around 35k normally when and then with Ningguang's shield up and the geo damage bonus, it went up to around 43,000. So 35,000 to 43,000, a pretty big increase. So yeah, that's why in that regard, it's really, Ningguang's passive is really good. This is the only reason, like one of the this is the reason I actually built Ningguang, because of the geo damage bonus and the fact that she'll provide geo resonance as well for Zhongli, which did get buffed, so increased damage dealt. So yeah, now it just displays locations of nearby ores and, things of that nature, basically. So yeah, that's basically Ningguang's build, guys. Now let's go and find ourselves a Ruin Guard to, put to sleep. Now, as you know, Ruin Guards and Ruin Hunters, like basically the Ruin enemies, do have a high resistance to physical resistance and elemental resistance as well. But the reason, I do them, like most other YouTubers as well, is because Ruin Guards are just, very, very, they're just like the easier enemies to take down. Not to say that they're easy to take down, but, they're just like, how do I explain this? I'm not very good at explaining, but the reason we do this is because Ruin Guards are just, they drop really nice materials, and they also, are like the slowest enemies as well. So, yeah.
Solidify!
Now, as you can see, that wasn't a lot of damage, but we shall run through the jade screen, do our ultimate. Now, as you can see, that wasn't the best, but if we do that again with a Bennett ult,
I will have order.
Teamwork is dreamwork.
Right, let me get her ultimate back.
Solidify.
Don't waste my time. It's nothing. Your life is mine. Blood repays blood.
Yeah, you guys saw that there, right? With the Bennett ultimate and everything, she did a decent amount of damage. I did see a 3,000 number, so obviously that wasn't a proper test, but like I said, I haven't really built Ningguang properly. So, yeah, usually my Ningguang hits for around 2,000 to, 2,000 to, like 1,500, 2,000 damage. Now, like I said, going against Ruin Hunters and Ruin Guards, they do have high resistances. So, if you basically multiply that by like 50%, you should get around, against normal enemies, just by itself, apologies for that, if you 1 second, everyone. If you do that against Hilichurls and everything, you guys will be able to see that
Even if an
Ningguang does
antique is
around
priceless,
2,500
the happiness
damage
it
to
brings lasts for
3,000
only the
damage.
moment that you
Yes,
obtain.
apologies for the little ringtone there. That was a bit of an oof moment, but yeah. Anyway, like as I was saying, if you multiply that by 50%, the amount of damage I was getting, you should be getting around 2,500 to 3,000 against normal enemies. So, in all honesty, this build is really, really good for Ningguang, and I suggest you guys try it out. Would I suggest building Ningguang? Like I said, it depends on your team comps and your actual situation in the game right now, whether you need Ningguang. Like, she's a solid DPS. She really is. She's a solid DPS. I honestly would recommend building her. And at Constellation 6, if you can get her to it, she does beat out some of the 5 stars, like, you know, like even rival them, like D-Luke, Kaching, you know, characters like that. So, yeah, guys, that's basically been the Ningguang build. I hope you enjoyed this video. Now, tomorrow, Hu Tao's story quest will be coming out, so we will be doing a video on that, and I do want to try and get out another character build video as well. Who that's going to be, well, you'll just have to find out tomorrow. But anyway, guys, I have been Carvenus14 and still am, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I do hope I'm getting these build videos just right for you guys,
In a trade war, the perfect
because,
hunter
you know,
leaves no
this
trace.
is still new to me. So yeah, anyway, I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you have a good night now, but yeah, goodbye.